It is entirely normal to question the details of a historical event. It is a completely different approach to walk up to national heroes, hand them a Bible, and demand they swear their achievements to God. When you cross that line, the reactions escape the bounds of polite conversation. You get caught-on-tape panic, hot mic assassination threats, and in one infamous case, a literal punch to the face. These encounters form the explosive core of Bart Sibrel's book Moon Man and the raw, unscripted documentary it spawned, Astronauts Gone Wild. Sibrel recognized that written theories only go so far. To test his hypothesis that the Apollo landings were a Cold War deception, he decided to bypass the paperwork, track down the men who supposedly walked on the lunar surface, and challenge them dead in the eye. This creates a unique psychological stress test. By forcing the Apollo crew entirely off script, we get to see exactly what happens when the human beings tasked with preserving an untouchable American myth are backed into a corner. Take Apollo 12 astronaut Alan Bean. Sibrel secured an hour-long interview at Bean's home by handing him $2,000 in cash, letting the astronaut assume he was sitting down for a standard, glorifying NASA promotional video. When Sibrel started pressing for technical details, Bean confidently claimed he couldn't hear the noise of the lunar module's descent engine at all. His explanation was simple. They were operating in the vacuum of space. Yet, when Sibrel later sat down with Apollo 17 astronaut Eugene Cernan, the supposed last man on the moon, Cernan stated the descent engine was extremely loud, completely overriding Bean's vacuum of space defense. This diagram illustrates the Earth's magnetosphere, highlighting the deadly Van Allen radiation belts. When asked about navigating this intense zone, Bean fumbled. He initially doubted they even went far enough out to encounter the belts. When reminded that the moon is hundreds of thousands of miles past them, Bean rapidly reversed course, claiming they must have flown right through them. Under continuous pressure, Cernan's body language began to crack. While aggressively defending his mission, he began sweating so profusely that massive stains formed under his arms, and he repeatedly snapped at his dogs as the questions grew tougher. As this animation demonstrates, the moon is tidally locked to the Earth. Because of this gravitational reality, the Earth stays fixed in the exact same spot in the lunar sky. It never visually rises or sets from the surface. Yet Cernan made a glaring factual error during his interview, stating that the Earth remained continually visible just over the lunar horizon during his entire moonwalk. When highly trained professionals deliver severe technical errors and nervous bodily reactions under questioning, it points to individuals struggling to recall a poorly memorized script rather than detailing their own lived experiences. The danger escalates with Apollo 14's Edgar Mitchell. Mitchell also accepted a $2,000 payment for an interview at his home, expecting another easy promotional piece. To set the stage, Sibrel asked Mitchell to put in his own VHS tape of the mission to play in the background. In a moment of pure, unscripted dark comedy, Mitchell accidentally hit play on a conspiracy tape that systematically exposed NASA's studio lighting discrepancies. Looking at this photograph of the Earth viewed from space, Sibrel capitalized on the awkwardness by playing his own unedited footage of the Apollo 11 crew allegedly faking this exact type of shot from low Earth orbit. Mitchell nervously dismissed the footage as a mere aberration on the film. The interview reached its breaking point when Sibrel brought out the Bible and directly addressed Mitchell's son, pleading with the young man to learn the truth about his father. Mitchell snapped, physically kicking Sibrel in the backside to force him out the door. In the chaos of the ejection, a critical production error occurred. Sibrel inadvertently left his live wireless microphone attached to Mitchell's shirt. Once Mitchell and his son retreated inside, the microphone captured a deeply disturbing private conversation. The audio clearly reveals Edgar Mitchell and his son discussing whether they should contact the CIA to have Sibrel assassinated. This recording forces a basic logical question. If the moon landings are undeniable historical fact, and Sibrel is merely a civilian with a camera, why would a legendary astronaut need to call the CIA to have him murdered? This brings us to Sibrel's ultimate target, Buzz Aldrin. Their first encounter was an ambush in a bookstore manager's office. Because Sibrel's production company was named ABC Digital, Aldrin sat down under the false assumption he was interviewing with ABC News. When Sibrel played the footage of the supposedly faked Earth photography, Aldrin panicked, believing the story of his historic fraud had just broken on worldwide television. In his frantic anger, Aldrin slipped up, telling Sibrel they were merely passengers on a flight. Their second encounter became international news. Sibrel tracked Aldrin down outside a Beverly Hills hotel and aggressively confronted him on the sidewalk. With cameras rolling, Sibrel explicitly called Aldrin a liar, a coward, and a thief. The pressure finally boiled over into physical violence. In response to the accusations, Buzz Aldrin punched Sibrel directly in the face. The mainstream media immediately rallied behind Aldrin, falsely reporting that Sibrel had poked the astronaut with the Bible and backed him against a wall. When Sibrel took his raw footage to the district attorney, he was told they simply would not prosecute a national hero. When these ultimate national heroes are pushed entirely off their prepared scripts, their violent and panicked reactions expose a shockingly fragile public facade. Whether you agree with Bart Sibrel's conclusions or reject them entirely, the raw footage he captured demands attention. It reveals the massive psychological toll carried by these men, visible in their extreme sweating, their contradictory facts, their hot mic CIA threats, and their sudden physical assaults. The ultimate cost of asking critical questions about Apollo 11 is incredibly high. It uncovers a dark narrative of espionage, deception, and the heavy burden required to carry an American myth. If you loved this deep dive into the tense and controversial world of Moon Man, please do us a huge favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow so we can keep bringing you these incredible stories. And don't forget to subscribe to the Bookish Breakdown so you never miss our next deep dive into the books that challenge everything you thought you knew. Drop a comment below. Would you have the guts to walk up to Buzz Aldrin with a Bible? Let us know, and we will see you in the next video.